Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. In this video we're going to be taking a first look at Ivy, who is a museum collection character. She's part of the bonus rewards when you do premier pulls, the old coin collector missions that have popped up in the last couple of weeks. Right now, if you were to do the pulls required, you can only get just over 1/3 of the required collectibles to claim her in the museum. She does last for 28 days. But it doesn't look like you're going to be able to get your hands on her like short term. You're going to have to do quite a lot of pulls over the next couple of weeks. In terms of what she looks like as a 5-star, this is what she looks like as a 5-star. You can see she looks okay, I guess. As a 6-star, she looks pretty badass, if I'm honest. The difference between a 5-star and a 6-star is pretty immense. She reminds me a lot of a League of Legends character, actually, which is called Talon. I don't know why, it just gives me the Talon feels in terms of just the cloak and the scarf around her sort of face just to cover her up. It looks awesome. We'll look at her stats. She's got 1,556 attack, 1,771 defense and 2,039 HP. Her trait is tough and her role is tank. Now if you look at her stats, it kind of reflects that. She maybe has got slightly low defense for a tank. You have seen tanks with over 2k defense now in Generation 2, but you can obviously buff this up with combat mods, weapon, that sort of thing. Now when we look at her rush, it's called Stalwart Protector. It is a 76 AP rush, deal 3 attacks of 150% damage, which is 450% total, to one enemy, up to 3 teammates, get 75 crit and 60% defense for 3 turns. This is a really strange rush, if I'm honest, and I'm not really sure how this plays into a tank role. She's effectively doing a damage dealer's rush that gives some buffs, which is more of a support character thing, and there's nothing that gives sort of anything to do with a tank, except maybe the defense buff you could say, but I wouldn't really necessarily say that's a tank thing to do. There's no taunt, there's no sort of suppression, there's nothing to stop characters getting wrecked, there's no like pain split, there's nothing to do this sort of thing, which normally is what tank roles do. So there's nothing like that, which is, like I say, kind of strange. When we move on to her active skill, it is actually pretty strong and it's new. It reminds me a little bit, I think it is, of Roxy's, where it just brings something new into the game, where it's up to 4 teammates get defense down block for 3 turns. Those teammates get 20% bonus HP. And it has an initial cooldown of 2, which makes it really strong for such a low initial cooldown in terms of how many characters it affects, which is insane. I guess it's other characters and not herself. If there are 5 alive, it would not be her prioritized, it would be the 4 teammates. On a defense team, I guess that could be really good. There are obviously really strong characters like Diego who can defense down your entire team. That's not going to be the case anymore. Turn 2, she can pop this off and there's not going to be any defense down. And obviously these days tank teams are just horrendous. The amount of defense stat and HP stat that you can get on defense teams, it's really easy to build, and the only way you can combat that is with attack and defense down, and this is taking away one of those options. If you have Roxy as well, potentially with that active skill, you're taking away the attack up buffs of the opposing team, and that's just going to massively neutralize the amount of damage output that a team can put out, and obviously just keep your guys alive for much longer. Now lastly, she has a specialist skill, Lifesteal. Now again, this is really strange. If she had Indomitable, it would have made sense maybe, especially considering she doesn't really have much tankiness elsewhere. It would have made perfect sense if she was Indomitable. I wouldn't even say she would have been too overpowered at that point, but just because she isn't gaining too much elsewhere in terms of just like, she hasn't got massive defensive stats, so it wouldn't be too bad. But Lifesteal, I'm not sure. She's going to have to crit on those multiple rushes to keep the heals going. Although Lifesteal did have changes recently, where it's when this character performs a critical hit, they will regain 15% of their max health. I just don't think it really fits with this character, if I'm honest, and I'm not really sure how well this is going to perform. However, in Hordes, she could be pretty good because she could potentially take out 3 walkers with her rush. Crit buffs are going to go round, defense buffs are going to go round, and the Lifesteal is going to heal her right back up. I would not necessarily say she's a fantastic raid character, however. She does not have an attached weapon, so you can just slot whatever weapon you want into her hands, and you're going to have a bit of time to craft one if you actually want to go for this character, because like I said, you're not going to be able to initially pick her up for a little while because she is part of missions, it looks like, and right now, like I said before, you can barely claim 1/3 of the collectibles to acquire her. All in all, I don't think Ivy is that strong, if I'm honest. She might have some niche usage if you have a particular team that you can use her in. She could be pretty good. There could potentially be something I'm missing here, unless you really want to go all in based on that active skill. That is actually going to be pretty decent, but that's about it. The rush, the specialist skill, I'm not really sold. Potentially she could be good in other game modes. I don't think that's worth dropping the hundreds of pulls that it's going to require to get this character. She seems like a character that potentially, to me, is going to be one that will probably come into free-to-play sooner rather than later, just based on the fact that I don't think many people are going to go for her, and her power is massively lacking, which basically, to me, makes her look like a free-to-play character in the first place. But do tell me what you think about Ivy. I think she looks awesome in terms of her visual design. I think the visual design of a lot of characters recently do look really great. But overall, her kit I'm not really that impressed with. That's the end of my video though. Thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.